When we are taking the 3 refuges, we make vows. Temptations are really irresistible. We can find it in here. When the server is passing the coconut tart, the dessert around, I said to myself, no sugar, no more. But the tart looks so good, so delicious. So I was at the workshop, should I take it or not? But before I make a decision, he's already gone. He already put it on the table. So it added on to my irresistibility of the temptation. And many of these things happen in life. You vow not to smoke again, you vow not to do this and that, but when the temptations come, if your willpower is not strong enough, you can't resist it. You're overcome by it. I think one of the ways to increase your power to overcome is to increase your meditative power, to increase your power to resist. And to some people, they may not even know that they have that power. They just let temptations take over. But if you know that temptations are irresistible and you vow to eliminate them, you already are ready. You are ready to eliminate them. So there's a difference between people who don't know, who are ignorant, and people who know, but they still can't do it. But if they gradually practiced it, they eventually would rule over. They eventually will overcome. It's just for those who are haphazard. They do it one day and they forget about another day, and they practice one day and they don't practice for 3-4 days. They will keep on taking the temptations. What does Namo mean as in Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitofo? What does Namo means? A few meanings. The first meaning is taking refuge under, seeking protection under. Namo is a Sanskrit word. You know, Sanskrit is a classical Indian language. At the time of the Buddha, there were so many languages and dialects spoken in India. The most common was Pali, and it's still common, Pali language. And that belongs to the populace, that belongs to the general population. And people also at that time spoke Sanskrit, which is a language of the higher class, the royal class. So Namo, it's a Sanskrit word. It means taking refuge, taking protection under. And it also means paying the highest homage to. Pay the highest homage. It's a courtesy that is of the highest value. So this Namo has been somehow transformed into many other subsidiary words. Like when you're in India, you greet someone, you say Namaste, that you put your palms together. You're greeting each other with courtesy. But Namo has far-reaching meaning. It means taking refuge under, paying homage to. It also has the meaning of starting afresh. Because you didn't have the protection before, now you start afresh. You want a protection, you want to seek that protection, that's Namo. The second question is, there are 8 sufferings experienced by all sentient beings. Do you know all the 8 sufferings that are experienced by all of us? First one, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering. The 4 sufferings. When you're getting senior, you don't want to, but somehow you're being driven to a nursing home because your children can't look after you, be it your Alzheimer's disease. You have to be looked after. You can't even take your own bath. You don't even recognize people. Then you have to put in the homes. Aging is suffering, sickness is suffering in the hospitals. Death is a suffering not just of the final breath. It's the time before you died. We have seen people who lied in bed for years. Many years ago, I visited a Toronto hospital. I think it's called the Grace Hospital or something, where babies were usually born in there. They also have intensive care, and I went on a visit. And my friend was lying just next to another bed, and on that bed, there lied a patient on equipments, on oxygen, and with all these things hanging and putting needles in, I don't know what you call them. And then went quiet about it because it seemed that he didn't move, he was just there, like a vegetation. And just for interest, we find out more about that patient. And he had been there for 5 years. Every morning, there's a plastic bottle of liquid. Every lunch, every dinner. And somehow the nurse came around to turn him around so that he can turn around, and another 2-3 hours, turn him around. Dying, not just death, is suffering. And some people say, no, I'm happy. I'm always happy. That is your attitude to combat your feeling about suffering. You can have any attitude you want. Some people have optimistic attitude. Some people have pessimistic, depressive attitude. You can take whatever attitude you want on a suffering, but you cannot deny the fact that it is suffering. Departure of your beloved ones is suffering. Your granddad died, your grandmom died, parents passed away, you're grief-stricken. Or your sister, your brother, your friend. You don't think only old people passed away, right? You don't think that. Babies passed away too. Middle age. Not just, I'm still young. I don't be afraid of death. I never put that on my head about death. I hate to mention it. It does not matter whether you want to mention it or not. Living with hated ones is suffering. Have you experienced living with someone you hated? Like your brothers and sisters sometimes, do you have a fight? Or your husband, you always want a divorce because you had an affair you knew about, but you don't want to because of the children. Or you're in a company where your colleague is stabbing your back, and they're always tattling behind your back. Or in universities where you have intensive competition. I know of a case at a university, someone is caught for stealing notes from fellow students. In a class of 12 or 13, where you want to struggle to get an A, and somebody makes some notes, they want to the washroom, and suddenly the 2 pages disappear. Because that guy has been stealing notes from his fellow students so that they don't get any notes to study for examination. Is that weird? And when the examination comes, they ask, have you studied yet? No, I haven't. I don't want to study. This is boring. I never study. I didn't even buy the textbook. But he lied. He's been studying every day to want to get an A. And he didn't want anybody to study because I didn't study, so you don't have to study. Have you ever experienced that kind of students, fellow students? No? Yes, you nod your head. Yeah, yes. But if I answer my question that way, I can never get it done. So I think that's it for this question. Next question. Respected Venerable, I want to say thank very much. We're inspired by you and continue our meditation. That's good. I was inspired by the Buddha's teaching, and I'm just regurgitating them to you. Nothing really per se wonderful about what I'm saying. I'm just a regurgitator. I'm just learning something and I just take it out again, give it back to you. I'm just a medium man. Good that I didn't charge you any commission for it. Some medium men may charge you commission one way or another. I don't charge for commission. It's all complimentary. As long as you want to listen, you come and we just, whatever the Buddha's teaching is in my mind, I just give it back to you. And I believe that by giving it more and more out, you're getting a lot more in return. Am I greedy for the return? I want to give out just because I want a return? No. That return bounces back to me and it bounces back again. We don't attach to any return. Let things just carry on its causality. We're not greedy for any return in order to give. And some people say, I want to give a lunch, I want to donate a lunch. And donation is very generous. Donation has a lot of merits in it, yes. When you donated it, don't think about the return. Just give it out unconditionally. without attachment. If you have return, you're looking for attachment because you're greedy for the return. That's why you want to give. You don't need for return. So, next question. The body is not mine. This am I not. This is not my soul. Is this enlightenment or nirvana announcement? Closer to the stage of enlightenment of an arahat. An arahat has no self. In other words, it does not have an ego in which you attach to. Because it does not have his ego, he's not attaching on others' ego. He's completely free, he's ego-free, an ego-free, enlightened individual. He's not selfish anymore. He has no more mental afflictions. What kind of mental afflictions do we have in our mind every day? Greediness, hatred, jealousy, you name them. These are all the mental afflictions in my mind, in our mind. We attempt to change them, to eliminate them. But it hasn't been too successful. Don't blame yourself or if you haven't been too successful in eliminating your own mental afflictions. Why? Because you have been accumulating all these mental afflictions from many, many lives before. And you expect to clean it up with just one wash? It takes many, many washes and bleaches to clean all these things. So if you're not successful, don't kick yourself. Oh, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. You slowly, if you are consistent, cleaning it, one day, you'll be all free from all these mental afflictions. But you really have to know how to do it. You really have to vow that you really want to do that kind of thing. You don't want to pollute your garment again. You want to clean it up slowly, bit by bit, to clean it up. That garment is the garment of your own mind. So this is enlightenment arriving, almost achieving at that nirvana level. Using this practice, the four contemplations, and many, many other methods, anapanasati, meditation, to arrive at an egoless state where you don't have any more mental afflictions. When you are in the arahat stage, when you don't have ego, no more mental afflictions, when you dial out this body, you still have to dial out this body that you have, you are not reincarnating again into the next life. You are always in that constant state of joy, of eternity, of happiness, if we name it. That eternity is free from hatred, free from ignorance. That eternity is something that we haven't experienced yet. That's what the Buddha told us. That is an eternity that you're always in constant bliss. No more suffering, no more in reincarnation. So the Stravakas used certain methods as spoken by the Buddha to achieve at it. But the Buddha said, yes, that's a very good high level, but that's not the ultimate level. Because you still cling onto your practice. You still have a Dharma. You still have a method. In other words, an arahat has taken the Horseshoe Bay trip, going to Bowen Island. He already have crossed that ocean of water. He's already on shore. But still, he still hang on to the ship, to Queensway. He hasn't stepped on shore yet. But he's already crossed life and death, that ocean. But he still cling onto the boat. That's not complete. You have to leave the boat. You have to forsake even your practice because you still have something to hang on. When you use the raft to cross that stormy ocean, you need to forsake the raft and get on shore. That raft is only a means to get to shore on the enlightenment. That's not the end. That's just the means. So are you asking me, is that enlightenment or nirvana enlightenment? Yes, to a certain level, you already crossed the ocean of life and death. But even the notion of this body is not mine, this am I not, this is not my soul, even that notion you have to let go. You have to let go every bit that is in your mind. You have to let go the idea of letting go. You have to let go the idea of practice. You have to let go the idea of Buddha. You have to let go the idea of nirvana. Throw that word nirvana away. It's dirty. It's still dirty. It is good until you become the arahat. But if you want to get a higher stage, even that idea of arahat, you have to abandon it. Let go of it. All right, that's good for this question. Last question. What can one do to accelerate purifying of karma besides meditating? We have 3 highways, we call it highway, the 3 highways that lead to nirvana, that lead to the complete purification of karma. What are these 3 highways? The highway of morality, means you have to observe all the precepts. You have to abstain from killing, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstain from lying. You have to abstain from cursing, from fabrication, from flattery. You have to have a perfect morality standard. That morality standard will guide you in only the virtuous deeds, not of the bad deeds. That is the highway of morality. Other than the highway of morality, that would make you avoid bad karma, because if you're always involved in bad deeds, you're always in bad karma, how can you get to nirvana? How can you get purification? You continue to pollute yourself. You got to get away from the pollutants, so you got to be a highway of morality to get away from the pollutants first. But getting away from the pollutants is not enough. You have to walk the highway of wisdom. You have to walk the highway of meditation, the highway of concentration. So there are 3 highways that you've got to cross. The highway of concentration is to increase your consistency, your confidence in walking the morality path, your consistency in knowing your own mind, your consistency in mindful of your own thought, your consistency and your endurance in knowing yourself. That's concentration and meditation, or that is samadhi, that is dhyana. And finally, there's another highway that you got to walk, the highway of wisdom. You got to achieve at prajnaparamita a certain high level standard similar to the Buddha, which elevates you to the ultimate truth. What is that truth? It's all in the Buddha's teaching. I'm only giving you the 3 highways. You still have to drive through it. There are a lot of gas stations on the highway too. You got to stop at those gas stations and refuel it. You can't go on without refueling it. Those gas stations are those things that you should learn. You should know the locations. You should know whereabout it is. Fill up your fuel. Walk the highway. It's either the highway or byway. Byway is hell. Byway are the 3 vicious rams. Highway is a saintly highway going to nirvana. Which way you want to walk? It's up to you, not up to Buddha, not up to God, not up to your parents. It's up to you.